Milo. He was so now. Sir Salman is a British Indian author, and perhaps most famous or infamous. See it for the publication of the Satanic Verses, a novel which he brought out in 1988, which many people thought was a send-up of Islam. So Salman Rushdie, he's been a captivating voice. I know his writing is not to everyone's taste. I'm not much of a littérateur myself, and I've only dipped a tiny bit into his fiction. But anyway, I'm very glad he survived. He was rushed to hospital, put on a ventilator. I thought, well, he's a goner. Difficult enough to survive this bad stabbing. I mean, you say, what as opposed to a good stabbing? If the guy had stabbed him in his foot or shallow, I mean, it might have been all right, but apparently it was severe. At 75 is even more difficult to survive. He's on a ventilator, but apparently he's off that and breathing normally. And his son visited him, said that his father is still chirpy and ebullient, so maybe he'll pull through. Anyway, clearly it's abhorrent that someone should be stabbed just for writing a book. Well, I don't actually know what the motive was. That's the most probable one. So the government of Iran offered a bounty of $1 million for anyone who would murder Mr. Rushdie, as he then was. And then Salman Rushdie, he was about to go to the memorial service of I can't remember who. Some writer just died in London. So he went ahead and did that. And after that, he disappeared. And for over 10 years, he was traveling using an alias. British Airways wouldn't let him fly for fear the plane would be blown up. He was going out at night as much as possible. I think he shaved his beard off. He wore a hat, big sunglasses, and then to disguise himself. Some people translated his work into Japanese and other languages. They were murdered. So if the religious nuts couldn't kill Salman Rushdie himself, they were going to kill his translators. So it's appalling. You don't like his book? Don't read his book. You hate his book? Okay, you're absolutely entitled to hit back hard by publishing a book that he doesn't like. No one should suffer the least violence for publishing a book, no matter what that book is. As though any religion is somehow immune from scrutiny or indeed ridicule. So, and then there was that fatwa saying that he must be killed. It was incumbent upon all Mohammedans, and many Muslims called for that. In his native India, the book was banned because Rushdie was born in Mumbai, Bombay, as it then was, British India. He became independent. He was born into a wealthy Muslim family, and his grandfather had chosen the name Rushdie after some Muslim king of a southern Spanish kingdom, who was a very wise, real xenophile, a very cosmopolitan person who had a syncretic set of beliefs. So this sort of cosmopolitanism and broad-mindedness is the best of Islam. Anyway, Rushdie, he was schooled in the United Kingdom. He attended rugby. So the only thing he liked about it is the fact that Lewis Carroll went there, as in the author of Alice in Wonderland. So Rushdie went to Cambridge, and he graduated, went into publishing, worked in a publishing company in London, and then he made waves in literary circles. He became a dear friend of Christopher Hitchens. So Rushdie was a Labour supporter because he thought that Labour took the problems faced by ethnic minority people seriously, when open racial discrimination was not uncommon in the United Kingdom at that time. Anyway, so Iran seemed to retract that fatwa against him, calling for his murder some years later. But much of the Muslim world was incensed by it. Pakistan certainly was. And then Keith Vaz, a Labour MP, wanted to take away Rushdie's right to speak his mind, to publish that book. It was appalling. I remember Jack Straw, Labour MP, having to go to a meeting with the police in Blackburn, his constituency, and some of the Muslim constituents were saying, well, the police have got to stop this book being published or sold. And the police patiently explained that there was absolutely no law against doing this, and no, they couldn't enforce that. So some bookshops were intimidated into not stocking and selling that novel. Anyway, so the Iranian government has seemed to blame Rushdie for the crime that he's a victim of. So it really just is appalling to do so. Anyway, so I'm glad David Lammy, this Labour politician, is not often that I sing his praises, but he got it right, saying that it's actually Iran should apologise to the United Kingdom and not the other way around. So anyway, I hope Rushdie lives long and prospers. I don't think he'll live that long, actually. But that who Sir Salman is. I'm reporting this on Indian Independence Day. There's a few days earlier that he was killed. So he came out of hiding in about 2000 Salman Rushdie. Remember famously he came to the stage at a U2 conference, surprised people, so long as you couldn't know his movements. So that seems more or less totally Britannicized. Anyway, so but there are some other people who still want him dead. And I don't know, a young man has been taken into custody, suspected of the attempted murder of Sir Salman Rushdie. He was knighted some years ago. I thought that was probably an unwise idea, because the United Kingdom had taken a lot of heat on his behalf, and there was no need to make it even worse for the UK. Although I remember Boris Johnson had to be on Question Time when it was put to the panel, should he be knighted? And Johnson said no, and he opposed this knighthood for Rushdie on solely literary grounds. Remember Christopher Hitchens, who was then a going concern, saying, we shouldn't tolerate Pakistan trying to intimidate our writers, otherwise they can do without all the aid money we give them. Yeah, that's it. Obviously, some people need to get a sense of humor about themselves, or just accept that other people are allowed to ridicule their religion. Because for Christianity, Hinduism, anything, any belief system, atheism, any political ideology, that is all open to scrutiny. Everyone has the right to take the mick out of another faith. And if you really believe in God, then why are you avenging him? He's a big enough boy to look after himself. He doesn't need you to stab or shoot someone. God can kill the person with a well-aimed heart attack. You will have eternity in which to torture this person to your satisfaction. So you don't need to kill them on earth. Show some forbearance, as it's a religion of peace and compassion and all the rest of it. And I remember Rushdie issuing some statement the year of Satanic Verses was published, which was half apologizing for it, somewhat withdrawing it. Would that spare his life? Would that calm things down? And a lot of people weren't really involved, were attacked for that novel. Well, thanks for watching my channel. So please subscribe to me. Look at my website, George from Ireland, and help me out on Patreon, PayPal. You'll find me on PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. That's all small letters, lowercase letters, as you may prefer to say. And remember, I teach people all sorts of subjects: history, politics, religious studies, English language, English as a foreign language, English literature, French, and law. I'm a tour guide in Londinium now that tourism has reopened some months away. So I help people with dissertations, essays, things like that, theses, interview practice, elocution, debating. I translate from various languages. Goodbye.